All right, YouTube, we are live. I always want to give it a couple seconds. And yeah, you know what? I'm gonna leave it on the GoPro here for a minute until we really get going. Tonight I will do Q&A, maybe even take some phone calls. But I also want to start this thing off with a little bit of a slideshow. You know, on this channel I do mostly sports. I dabble in a little production talk, some microphone videos, some aviation stuff. These are all just my passions, and you know, I have nowhere else to really explore that content, create that content, distribute that content, but here I am. And so in tonight's live stream, I thought I would just begin with a quick slideshow of photos I've taken in Hawaii over the last handful of years. Now, obviously, I haven't been back in quite some time, all things considered. I don't know when the next time I'll get to go is. I dream about it all the time. But the bottom line is, it's such a place for photos. I mean, obviously, to enjoy and relax and all that stuff too. But some of my favorite photos ever that I've seen or that I've ever taken have come from Hawaii. So let's just begin with that. And by the way, I should also explain here. Hang on a second. I took all these with my Canon 5D Mark IV. This is the trusty beast. Right now on it is the 16-35 f4 lens. I invested heavily. I've always loved photography, but I heavily invested in cameras and lenses. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, except no card in camera, you big dope. I really got deep into the camera game and really invested when our son was born. It was just the perfect time. I'd always had a decent camera. Back in the early 2000s, I invested in one of the first ever DSLRs. So I've always been around it. I've always loved photography, but I really decided, hey, you know what? These are the memories worth capturing. So this camera is great. It's now outdated. There's a whole new line. The R line for Canon's out, but anyway, long story short, I still love this camera. It takes fantastic images. I'm gonna run it into the ground, hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years. I guess I've had it now for almost 4 years. So I'm gonna give it a lifetime full, and then probably upgrade to something else, but not before I, like I said, take tens of thousands of more pictures. I bet you with that camera, no lie, with our son, with vacations in 4 years, I bet you I've snapped that shutter more than 100,000 times. I take a lot of pictures. I really do. And by the way, I love this sunset at Hawaii right here. Look at that. That is just, to me, look at the colors. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, I took that picture. No, that's not it. I'm saying, look what nature offered me for this sunset. This is my favorite time of day. I think across the globe, no matter where you are, sunset, dusk, there's just something about it. It's magical. But especially so in Hawaii. And the torches start to get lit, and there's always a little gentle breeze as the sun is going down. I mean, look at that right there. Look at those colors. Now, these photos might be touched up a little bit, right? There's not a ton of doctoring going on with these. Just to get the colors right, to get the levels right. And honestly, I don't even know how it's playing right now in terms of you watching this on a phone screen or whatever. But you know, I don't know how the resolution looks, how the colors look, how the detail looks. I don't know, but here on this screen, still pretty satisfying. I'll take it off here for a second. Look at the colors there. The grass, I mean, you know how they say the grass is always greener on the other side? Just think it's always green in Hawaii. It really is. Oh, speaking of green, look at the gecko. Look at the detail on that gecko. I don't know, that's just an amazing little critter right there. Oh, and look at the color difference right there. Now, I think, you know, I should have explained here the different lenses I use. So, grab it here. I talked about the, this is actually a wide-angle lens. So 16-35, that's in millimeters, but if I take this thing all the way wide, I could take a picture of mostly this whole room. It's quite wide. But if I want a longer lens, I have a 50 prime, a 1.2, which means I could do a really shallow depth of field. Longer than that, I also have a 70 to 200 that I use for zoom shots, and I guarantee that's what I took this with. I don't remember for sure, but I can almost tell that I was on a zoom lens, a longer lens, because you can't get too close to this little guy, otherwise he'll run away. He or she will run away, but long lens to take that picture. This one probably similar. I can't really tell. I mean, all the EXIF data is on the photos. Look at the clouds right there. I mean, that is just something you do not get in California. And I love California, trust me. Especially right now, our poor state is on fire in so many places. And feel for everybody. I know we'll talk about that later in the live chat, but that's like a water painting, a watercolor painting up there. Those clouds, that sun. Sunlight, I should say. And here's a little bit of a wider shot with that sky and all the green in front of it in the foreground. Yeah, that's amazing. That makes me just relax looking at the photo. Oh, okay. We're switching away from the landscape shots to talk about some really important stuff here. These are favorite items. When I go to Hawaii, if there's a grocery store trip involved, these are purchased pretty much every time. The Maui onion potato chips, little Maui Brewing Company. Now, I'm pretty sure you can get, I don't know about the cookies. Cookies. Is that how you say cookies? The Maui cookies, the macadamia nut cookies on the right there. And any type of macadamia nut milk chocolate things. Oh, so money. So money. Those cans, you never have to worry about bringing them home or emptying them out. Like, they're empty halfway through the trip. But yeah, you can get Maui Brewing Company pretty much at Bevmo's, I want to say, at Total Wine. You can get them around here in the Bay Area, no problem. And the chips, I believe, too. Pretty widely available at grocery stores. This must have been my 2018 trip. I can see right there the December 2018 Best Buy. But yeah, these are must-have staples of every trip to the islands for sure. All right, let me move on here to a couple more photos. Like I said, sunset is just, you can tell right there that the sun is not down. It's lowering in the sky by the shadows, but it hasn't got all red and colory yet. Hasn't gained all those warm tones and hues yet. But I'm definitely in place to take some photos, and there you go. There's a different night. Right now, you understand this night, for whatever reason, and the way the clouds are and the sun is, you're not going to get all those purples and reds. It's just going to go orange right there. But still, a beautiful sunset. And all these, by the way, I should have told you, were taken on the Big Island. I have some other ones from Maui, I believe, but I'm not sure that any of them are on this slideshow. Almost done, by the way, and then I'll get to some Q&A. There's just some various plants. I mean, how cool. I don't know the name of that, unfortunately. I know some of you are smart. Maybe you're a botanist and you do know. It's just so cool to me. That's just because it's stuff that you don't see anywhere in the 48 states. Only on a tropical island do you see something like that. Beautiful colors and flowers. And oh, look at the little bird right there. Can you see that? I can't zoom in. I'll just move my mouse around it. Tiny little guy hiding in there. Oh, yeah, poolside. That's just, that looks like a Saturday right there. I just want to lay down and have a beer. In the shade, by the way. Have I told you about my sunburn, pledge? I never want to get another sunburn again. Never, ever. Why would you want to do that? Why would you even want to risk that? All honestly, and I'm not huge on sunscreen either. I know I'm just going off here about something else and not sharing photos, but another beautiful one here from the northern coast, northwestern coast of the Big Island. Yeah, what I'm saying about getting sunburned is that I don't mind wearing like a rash guard shirt. I don't even care. And I don't like putting on a ton of sunscreen, but what I definitely do not like is any type of sunburn anymore. I just feel like that is so bad for you and your skin and your health. It's painful. It's regrettable. There's a nice sunset for you. Look at the tree in the foreground. Oh, here's the one that I got pretty good. Now, this is not tack sharp. I don't know if I didn't have the settings right, not a high enough shutter speed. But then if you do too high, then you don't get to see everything. But let me take myself off here for a second. This might have been like a 60-second or a 90-second exposure. And you get to see all these stars, and there's like a galaxy up there. Just kidding. I actually don't know what that is. I wish I knew more and I wasn't dumb about space, but, or it's a meteor or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I was trying to capture this one night by the pool, and I think I got it okay. But next time I get the opportunity, it's got to be on a clear night, preferably not too much wind. Otherwise, the camera, I mean, if it shakes just a little bit, your shot is blurry. It doesn't work out the same. It's got to be like rock still. In fact, you also should use a remote to start your slow exposure, because if you hit the trigger on here to start the exposure, you're actually jiggling the camera just a little bit. I mean, this thing has to be like, tripod, locked down, sandbagged. Anyway, but you know what? I'm happy with this shot, but I can do better. I definitely can. Oh, more geckos. Love geckos around here. I like this one better. This one's got a more narrow depth of field. I definitely shot this at I might have used my 50 on, well, no, because I don't know if I would have been that close. But if I was on the 70 to 200, that's a 2.8 aperture lens. So I was definitely at 2.8 right there to get that narrow depth of field. And some more bird friends. Hawaii's got the best birds. They really do. Not only how they look, but the noises they make in the morning. Why is it that birds, and I think I'm back to the beginning. Why is it that birds outside my house in the morning, they annoy me if they wake me up? But birds in Hawaii, even if I wake up too early, it's like, oh, hey, that sounds nice. Isn't that weird? Maybe I'd get tired of them if I lived out there too. But let me just say this. And let me use some of these pictures as the evidence. How could you not, if you had the opportunity in life, like if you're able to retire comfortably, or something happened here, or you just got a job here, you could do whatever. If you had the opportunity to live there, not forever, but just spend a full year there. Oh, that just sounds awesome. It does. And maybe not forever. Maybe you'd get tired of it. Maybe you'd want to come back to California, which I love. Maybe you would. But do a full year there. Really, really, really soak it in. Okay, I have done a ton with my slideshow there. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me quit that and let me get to the old live chat. Oh, look at that. Sample user says this live stream is the best. Oh my goodness. So that's actually part of the template here that I use. And yeah, that's literally not supposed to be there, but Ruben is supposed to be here. Ruben, what's going on? I like the avatar. I like the flat brim. I like the fact that you're repping it, and it's the green and gold. Clinical depression. I hope not too bad. Sup? What's going on? Eric, little Brody time. Jackson, hey. Good evening, M. Lamb. Do I think KD will come back on Wednesday? We're talking Oakland A's. Hey, why is your avatar Kansas City Royals, Kyle? And you're asking a great A's question. This is going to be huge. Chris Davis has been literally crushing home runs in, five or six straight nights. What was it? Just tearing the cover off the baseball. And what timing? Because September 1st, MLB rosters, you can bring up 2 more players to the big league club for September. Now, what's crazy is MLB used to have this so wrong in the opposite direction. They used to let you bring up anybody on your 40-man roster. And some people will say, why shouldn't you still do that? The only exception I have against that is that in a 40-man roster situation, that means your bullpen can have like 18 guys out there. And now at least there's a 3-batter minimum, so, you can't, do batter per batter, pitcher to pitcher matchup, which honestly they were doing a couple years ago. I'm not even exaggerating, and games were taking forever, and it was less of a showcase if it was more of like, well, we have this, we're just going to do it. But I also think all 40 might be too much, or maybe without a roster or a limit on the bullpen, but just bringing up 2 players might be too little. I think a lot of contending teams have a handful, like 4 or 5 guys that could help them down the stretch. Now, let's get back to Chris Davis. All of this is interesting with the A's because they probably do want to bolster their bullpen just a little bit down the stretch. But the way KD is playing, how could you look past that right now? And I mean, I'm the same guy. I'm the same guy who made a YouTube video probably about a week ago. And I said, you know what? I love KD. I'm happy that he's off to a great start. Back then, it was only like 3 homers in 5 or 6 games. Now it's a lot more. And I still am happy for him. But back then, I said, be patient. Let it see how things play out. The A's are at a critical juncture. You know, you need to see a little bit more. Well, we've seen more. Coincidentally, the A's have also won their last 2 games. They split a series with the Yankees. They actually could and should have taken 3 of 4, to be perfectly honest. And they've been so streaky. What did they win 12 of 15? And then they lost 10 of 12? And now they've won 2 in a row? Hard to really predict where the A's are going and, honestly, what they need. So, do I think KD will come back on Wednesday? I'm not sure. I would not be surprised if he did. Dave Stewart fully believes, and here's a man who has done the dance as a player. He's been a GM in the front office. He currently represents people as an agent. He's watched and been a part of a lot more baseball than I could ever even fathom. He's pretty sure. And he said, actually, it's not a matter of if, but when KD comes back. So maybe he doesn't expect it to happen September 1st, but just know that when rosters expand, and I know that's the point of the question here, Kyle, will KD be one of the 2 that gets added? I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at some point. And I don't necessarily see the risk. Some people say, well, yeah, 8 homers in 13 games, but it's a AAA. Okay, so here's my counter to that. That's fine. I know who he's hitting off of, and I know the ballparks are launching pads in that AAA West with the old PCL league. But what if I told you KD could have just half of that production at the major league level? 4 homers in 13 games. I'm pretty sure that you would take that. So long as all the other things are there. And look, we know that teammates are going to be pulling for him. Matt Chapman was the one who recruited him back into baseball and playing again. So I'm impressed by this whole story. I'm hoping for the best. I'm interested. I don't know how it's going to play out. But damn, I'll be following this one closely because it's fun. It really is. All right, sorry. I got a little invested in that one. Let's get to this one right here. These fires are terrible. And let me just state the obvious here. Everybody's looking at South Lake Tahoe right now. There's other current fires around California, around the West. There have been each of the last handful of years, which kind of desensitizes us in a very unfortunate way. You know, we should not be looking at this stuff saying, oh, well, it's just going to happen every August and maybe September and October and maybe even into November. But this is crazy and this is ridiculous. And I'm not the expert on how to remedy this, if there's tech to our aid that we could use as a solution, if it's as simple as better managing land. I can't even get into that. I hear a lot of different things, but who am I to actually say that I know how to fix this? I do think the earth is changing. I do think our climate is definitely a part of this. You cannot deny that what's happened and drier and windier conditions these times of year, they all contribute. They don't actually start the fire, well, unless it was last year. Remember all that lightning, dry lightning in California? So that did start the fire. But in these cases, I don't know what started it, but I know what fuels it, what carries it on. And with the Caldor fire right now, you literally have something that started in the foothills and has escalated not just a distance, but it's gone uphill, and now it's about to come down the other side of the hill into the Tahoe Basin. Let me get back to the Tahoe aspect of it for a second. The first time that fires really made me stop everything and think, it was 17 or 18 in Santa Rosa. And we got to tour the neighborhood. We were doing a hockey fundraiser up there, and we got a bus tour through the neighborhoods that had just recently burnt down. You know what? I think it was 2018 from the 2017 fires. Long story short, you know, you see the devastation firsthand. You see houses, you see halves of houses, you see a neighborhood that just doesn't even exist anymore. And then you drive home to your own house that night, look at your own neighborhood and think like, imagine if this were that. But a lot of people right now are, and I'm guilty of it a little bit, looking at Tahoe because it's sentimental to all of us. Like now you're attached because it's Tahoe. Now everybody is paying a lot more attention. It's not fair, but I also understand it because it's tangible to us. And this is devastating. Maybe in some way, it just makes people more aware of fires, their nature, how serious they are, how quick they develop, how even with every resource in the world, you can't, like right now, they can't stop it. They can't really even contain it better. So again, I know people are focused on Tahoe. They should be. I am too. That's not even selfish. That's not, because I want to take my next vacation there. I mean, I do, but that's not it. I'm thinking about people, jobs, property, sentimental stuff. And I hope everything remains untouched, but I honestly don't know what the odds are. So I'm thinking about everybody up in Tahoe. I know today was huge, and I'm sure tonight right now, a lot of residents are putting their head down on a pillow somewhere else. And it's all hitting them, and I feel so terrible for that. Okay. I know this whole thing isn't going to be as real as that, but I had to go there. Talk about the stadium. You know what? There is and there isn't developments to talk about. Let me just, I wasn't planning on it now, but let me just summarize this. Alameda County pushing off their vote. When I first saw the headline, it shook me. That's a big deal. Then I realized, wait, they need the A's and they need the city of Oakland to, I can't shake my own hand. They need them to shake hands before they can jump in on a deal, right? So it's not surprising to me. I also clearly saw that all of their other meetings in the upcoming future have been postponed. They're not taking on really anything right now. So what can I say? Of course I'm impatient. Of course I want it to happen soon, but I just don't think it's, what I saw in the delay, not the biggest deal right now. If it continues, certainly I'll have more to say about it. Grow the hair out again. Miles Deep, man. Do you really want that, Miles, or are you just saying that? Am I amusing to you? Is that what you're saying? You know, it's crazy. I was looking at some videos earlier today where I had it. It was like a different lifetime ago. And it really wasn't that long ago. I guess I got my hair cut about 4 months ago for the first time in like 455 days. Sometimes I still grab for the back and I'm like, oh, it's not there anymore. I got used to having long hair. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going back to that one. I just don't. I can't. Didn't really like it that much, to be honest with you. I mean, at a certain point, I guess it looked cool, gave you some points, but Oh, grow out your hair. I see you forgot. I knew what you meant. grow your out again. It's crazy. I read that just fine and I didn't even see the mistake. I should go north to take photos of the northern lights. You know what? That's a pretty far trek up there. You got to go up to the territories, I believe, of Canada for that. Oh, Ronald. Hope I'm having a great night. It's hanging in there. I'm probably not going to stream here for a long time, but I'm also kind of like froggy all of a sudden. I recorded a video before this, and I should have got a drink of water. And now that I'm streaming, I can't just hit pause, can I? No, I wouldn't do that. I'll just keep it rolling here. What's my favorite moment in Sharks and A's history? Well, A's history, for me, probably everything from the late 80s, early 90s, winning the World Series, but the whole Hammer Time thing, and Ricky, and Jose, and Mark, and Carney, and Stu, and Eck, and Steinbach, and I could go on, and Tony La Russa, and it's at a moment. If you're asking me for one moment, I don't know, Game 4 of the 89 World Series, I guess. But there's been others like the Nick Swisher era, 2012, Game 162, Hamilton dropped the ball. honestly, even in recent times, 17 and 18 with Chapman and Olsen now, this has been an era. So I know these aren't moments. I kind of look at like sequences, eras, if you will. So I'm sorry that if you were asking for specifics and I'm speaking generalities, it's just kind of the first thing that comes to mind here. S. Garcia, yeah, that's what I just said there. And not to say what's correct and what's inaccurate. I think we're all pointing out kind of the same thing here, is that initially when you hear, the county wants nothing to do with this, they're not even going to vote on it. That's not it. The county's not doing anything right now, like anything related to anything else necessarily. They're having their break, which I think was even going to be extended, I heard, a little bit this year. And honestly, a pass is not a no at all, and especially if it is a pass because the A's in the city are still working things out. What's the city going to vote on? We'll vote on the fact that you guys are working on it. I kind of would rather have the county say, I'd rather have this statement. When you guys figure it out, we're in too. I'd rather have that. Am I saying that's where they're at? No. Do I think that's a possibility? Yes. So we'll see where it goes. A bag of Maui style. TK. There's a few TKs. Tony Kemp. Sorry, I'm just going here through the. I know I'm way behind here in the comments. We're still talking about the slideshow, how beautiful the photos are. Are the A's going to get their new stadium? I certainly hope so. We've been through a lot now, all of us. This process, I mean, just to get to this location and now settling in on it, and the Las Vegas aspect of it. And, I also think too, if this were playing out, 15 years ago, you wouldn't hear every last detail because there wasn't social media, and everybody didn't have a current like stage at their hands. Like if I want to say something right now, go to Twitter. Oh, I'd have a text message. Go to Twitter, see what people are saying, or have my chance to put it out there and get some reaction. But 15 years ago, that just wasn't really an option. What I'm saying is that in this era, we're living and dying by every single thing that comes out. Whereas 15 years ago, you don't even hear all the details. So you're kind of numb and immune to it a little bit more. And so the process isn't as detailed. My goodness, I just need some water. I mean, I guess I could put the stream like on pause. I wonder if this works, by the way. It does do that. You know what's crazy? I've always there's a FTB, a fade to black button over here. And I'm pretty sure that's what it did. Look at that. Ooh. Oh, you know what else I could do? So I could fade to black over here. And then I could bring it up and say, oh, now I'm over here. All right, it's really cheesy. Sorry. Oh, when I was looking at the photos, that actually was a galaxy. Oh. Andromeda. Am I saying that right? 34th and Crenshaw? Andromeda? Any updates on the new stadium? Yeah, we've been talking about that. I'm glad people do want to talk about this. It's kind of fallen, since July 20th. It's fallen off a lot of people's radar, but it's still so important. And I actually think, I would suspect that if you just look at progress, how much has been made, how much actual movement has happened, I wouldn't be surprised if the most developments and the best developments have happened in the last couple months, stuff that we're not even hearing about behind the scenes. There's that saying, no news is good news. Sometimes, and I think in this case, it actually is, because I know people are still working on this behind the scenes and on both sides. Am I into Disneyland? Of course. And that's another thing about right now. The pandemic, another place that's just kind of hard, I don't know. Even with all the protocols and procedures, I think I'll just wait. I'll wait until I can enjoy it like normal. It's one of those things where I would love to go take our son, but that's just not in the cards right now. Hell, I would love to go just selfishly as an adult, but like I said, I think for me, waiting until it resembles a lot more normal and you don't have to think about stuff. So, sorry, the Cali kid. I know I'm going way too deep on Disneyland here, but yes, I am into Disneyland. Been going there since, since I can barely remember things. Mac33. Brody, I'm just an audio hobbyist, but you're the reason I got into DBX gear. Oh, thank you. Love the broadcasting. So, the DBX gear that's being discussed here are those 3 rack items right there. The crazy thing is, my admission to you is that this stuff I used to use for all my audio processing, and you can see that it's still operational because I am feeding signals to it, but actually right now, all of the audio that I do for this stream and pretty much everything I do here from home is going through this Universal Audio Apollo Twin X. This little box right here has about 10 times the amount of stuff possible as these 3 rack units right here. It's crazy. I love the DBX stuff. It's great. And it looks nice. That's why I keep it here too. I also keep it because, if I didn't like it, I would have sold it and repurposed the funds for something else. But no, I do like it. It's great stuff. It's good for microphone, good preamps, good, you can EQ it, you can gate it. I mean, these are basically channel strips. So I know not everybody's into that here on the channel, so I will move on. But thank you for suggesting that. All right. Do you think Blackburn might possibly move to the bullpen if and when Bassett returns? David, I'm so glad that you even brought up the name Paul Blackburn, and you're giving me the opportunity to talk about that here on the live stream, because I got to tell you, Paul Blackburn's, 3 starts since Chris Bassett got hurt. And this last one against the Yankees, Sunday Night Baseball, national television, all the weight on his shoulders to come out and deliver a series split. And I know that doesn't sound like rewarding or sexy. And, when has there been a huge series split? That's usually not a good thing for your team. But considering where the A's were on their losing skid, facing the Yankees in their win streak, and looking back, the game they were down 6-0, tied it at 6, lost 7-6 in the top of the 9th. Imagine taking that game. Now you've taken 3 of 4 from the Pinstripes. Instead, you split. Fine. But at least you got out of that in a good mode to start off this next road trip. Sorry, let me go back to Paul Blackburn. I'm so happy that he's grasped this opportunity and has started to run with it. He's been up in the big leagues up and down since 2017, never really had a sustained chance. But clearly and honestly, with Bassett's injury, I'm not sure who else this is going to go to. It's his by default, but I love the fact that he is putting forth some really, really good efforts. And they're not all going to be perfect. I mean, even his first one in Chicago, the A's lost that game. I mean, he wasn't flawless by any means, but the fact that he flew in that morning, imagine this. The night before, you get a phone call. Hey, did you see Bass get hurt? Yeah. You're up. You're coming up tomorrow. We're going to fly you into Chicago. You're going to pitch, and I guess Yan Gomes is going to catch you. Or was it Murph that night? But you understand what I'm saying. That's a great opportunity, and you hate the reason that it happened, but that's a lot for somebody to take on instantly. You didn't know that was coming. You could not see that coming. You got to be ready. He was. And just to say that Paul Blackburn is not even nearly the only starter in the A's rotation right now who has stepped into a role, who's earned it, who has just grabbed it by the horns and run away with it. Think about Cole Irvin this year. Wasn't supposed to be a starter out of spring training, but he impressed at the end. And then when he got the chance, he impressed at the beginning of this season. Same thing with James Caprillion. If you didn't have Fires injured, and if you didn't have Luzardo injured with the freak broken pinky from a video game, you don't get a Caprillion called up. And then he goes to Fenway Park, his first start, gets the win in his MLB starting debut. How nuts was that? You have 3 tremendous stories right now on the A's in terms of their staff, and they're all critical guys. Add those 3 to Minaya and Montas, and there you go. That's your rotation right now. Back to when Bassett does or doesn't return. I mean, you have to understand what he's going through is a lot, and he's a bulldog, and he's going to do his best. And you know what? He probably is going to cut this thing a lot closer than it ever should be with anybody else. It was about 6 weeks left in the season when he got hurt, and doctors said it would take about 6 weeks. Oh, man. That's brutal. I mean, it's great that he's healthy and that everything will recover fine, because there was a point where we were all clearly worried about that first, as we should be. But once you know he's going to be healthy, it's hard to hear that recovery sequence is going to time out exactly to the end of the regular season. But I don't know. I mean, he's stopped throwing. He's stopped doing things physically for a while. You have to after surgery and swelling. And you know what I love more than anything else? The fact that Chris Bassett has been at the ballpark each of the last 2 games and last 2 wins. Last 2 wins. Did you hear that? There's got to be something to that. His presence, and now they're winning games again. So, we should talk about that. We should talk about that on TV. I'm going to write that one down. But I don't know what the future holds for Bass. I really don't. In terms of the end of this year, you know what my hope is, certainly, that he can come back healthy and productive. But if he doesn't, it's okay. I mean, he tried. He's going to try his absolute best. But I think at that point, when he comes back, I'm sorry, David, I could have answered your question 6 minutes ago. The answer is, by the time he comes back, it'll be the playoffs anyway, and you're only working on a 3 or 4 man rotation. So there you go. Oh man, Alonso. I think that's mostly wishful thinking. Starling Marte is playing himself into a gigantic contract somewhere. And typically, it's not how the A's roll, but man, I love watching him. He is fun to watch. And the same thing for Josh Harrison. And really, Jan Gomes too. And Chafin. This is the best A's trade deadline in decades. It really has been. I mean, if you're asking me what my gut is, Alonso, I'm gonna tell you this. Here's how I'm doing it. I'm gonna mentally prepare to say no. Not because I don't want it, but just because I'll be realistic about it. And if it happens, think how happy I'll be. Right? So I'm doing the whole reverse psychology thing here. I'll put no eggs into the basket, and if anything drops in that basket, I'm going to be super stoked. Wait, am I making that reference right? Probably not. You understand what I'm saying. Division's going to be tough, Jackson. I'll be honest. I hate the wild card game and format, but it's the division is possible. Like, no, I know the A's still can do it. There's no question. But will it happen? 6 head-to-head games. Think about this. I mean, even if you're down, let's say you go into the final 2 weeks down 3.5. Well, if you even beat the Astros head-to-head 4 times out of 6, you've only gained 2 games. That doesn't get you ahead of them in the standings, So I can pass for Steven Piscotty's brother. I mean, he has brothers, so I'll take that. Like, Scotty's a good-looking dude, smart guy, Now he's a dad just like me. He got married a while back. We have a lot in common. I think we're neighbors, actually. Seriously. You agree with Miles Deep. Grow my hair out like Jeremy Roenick. Wait, out of all the long-haired dudes, Jeremy Roenick is the one? You should have said like Jaromir Jagr or something. JR. I wonder if they allow players with face injuries to wear a protective mask. They allow it in other sports. And that is a question. But I think by the time that if you're talking Bassett, by the time he comes back, he'll be fully recovered. And I mean, I guess there might be a plate in there. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure the legitimacy of that, or if you, as a pitcher, can wear something like that. Certainly a position player, it'd be a different story. But I'm not sure. You would think that would be allowed if you need it. But I can't speak to that for certain in the rules. I'll check in on that one. It's a good one, actually. You got great content. Just wish there was more. Like Grant Cohn of the Oakland A's. All right, Joshua. So I challenge you. What more would you like to see? I'm not saying like, oh, I'm not doing enough. No, I'm saying like, help me. Help me produce this channel a little bit more. Tell me what you want to see. If you're just saying, because there's a fine line for me, quantity versus quality. I'm only speaking to my own experience here, but I could pump out more quantity. I just don't know if the quality is always going to be there. What I mean by quality, just well thought out. Well thought out thoughts? No, well thought out rants? No, I don't really rant. You know what I'm talking about here. Well thought out videos. How about that? Yeah, national parks getting closed. That when I was talking about the fire. Yeah, it's rough times right now. I would really love, because of all this, I would really love in the fall to go up to the mountains for a while and support some of these places that are definitely going to need it. Which MLB team do I think will get a new stadium that isn't the A's or Rays? Brendan, woo. All right, let's think about this. Who doesn't have a new one? I mean, so many teams have a new one, and the older ones like Wrigley, Fenway, Dodger Stadium, nothing getting touched there. Kansas City, they've done so much fixing it up. That's also an older one. Trying to think here. Like everybody else has a new stadium. Texas has relatively new stadiums. I know in Arizona, I know this sounds weird, but I think that building in Arizona is like falling apart. They've had a ton of problems with it. The D-backs are trying to move out of it to a different spot in Phoenix and rebuild somewhere else. And that place hasn't been around very long. Early 2000s, late 90s? Late 90s, I think. It's amazing. So I don't know. I mean, I would guess maybe Arizona, which is crazy to think even about, that they're already getting another one. But hey, the Rangers got a new one just now, and so did the Braves. Everybody else has a ballpark that's modern. I guess that's the way to do it. If it was built in the late 90s to anywhere in the 2000s or 2010s, it's probably modern and not ready for replacement yet. Hang on a second. Oh, that's not it either. Let me try this. No, that's not it. Hang on. Yeah, that's it right there. Why would anybody be watching this? Watching me laughing with this stupid sound effect here? I mean, to an interesting question. I'm not trying to cap on you, Random Videos 1001. Is that, kids still say that? No, they don't say that. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can transfer to being a Giants fan even casually. I think I'd have to find a new baseball team and a new league. I'd have to find something. I honestly, I have no clue. People have asked that, and I appreciate them asking because they care about the situation and what I would do. I just don't even know. Which baseball player do people say you look like? Maybe Trey Turner? Not recently. I can't. There's somebody who everybody said, yeah, that's your twin. But that might have been years ago at this point. I don't know that there's a current player. I'd have to see a better headshot of Trey Turner, like hat off and everything else. I mean, the ones I do get are the Nerdist guy. Oh man, what's his name? I'm so sorry. Hardwick. Chris Hardwick. See, now that's a case right there. Nobody's talking to me. No producer here. I just remembered that. I do get Chris Hardwick a lot. Or Seth Meyers a lot. So there you go. Grow a long beard. Long hair, long beards. It's hard work. It's really hard work. How will the San Jose Sharks fan experience be different in the coming years with Google? That's a great question. And truth is, I don't think anybody knows yet in terms of how that project is phased out, how it what I mean like phased out, gone. I mean like how it's phased. What's phase 1? What's phase 2? What's phase 4, 7, 10, whatever. And also how quickly those phases happen. You know, when all this was laid out, I think the world was in a different place. People were more in touch with showing up to work, showing up to a campus, physically being places. So I'm not saying they're not going to do all of it. I just don't know if it's going to happen as quickly. Excuse me. In terms of the fan experience, I mean, once you walk in the doors of SAP Center, it's only going to get better over the years. They're constantly going to do things to upgrade it. So, you know, if people are talking about, well, will there be enough parking spaces, the roads, the drive? It's been promised, you know, to a certain extent, the amount of spaces and the lack of, I'm sure there are things of lack of construction, certain hours and, you know, accessibility. I know the Sharks were very worried for a period of time that they wouldn't have input on it. They wouldn't be able to protect their business. But since then, it does seem like the talks and the negotiations between San Jose, Google, and the Sharks and SAP Center, that they've come a long way. So I'm hoping, you know, what I hope to answer your question with is it won't be that different. Maybe a little bit, but also maybe a little bit better in some other ways too. Maverick, it's been a long time. Do I remember you? I remember the icon. I remember that. Oh, you can see my mouse on there, can't you? I remember your avatar there. Did we talk? Did you call on the phone? Did I do the phone lines with you? I don't know if I'm going to do the phone lines tonight. Maybe I will. Let's see. Are the Giants surprising me right now? Yeah, they continue to be. And I think it's, you know, credit to them. I mean, who saw it coming? Who saw it sustaining? They've been in first place. I mean, they've had best record in baseball since late May. I want to say May 31st. It's August 31st tomorrow. We're talking 3 months here. Yeah, they're absolutely surprising me, and I'm not hating on it. Hey, you know what? It's one thing to do well in the regular season, as we all know. What are you going to do when you get to the playoffs? And they're in that honeymoon phase now. Trust me, as a Sharks and A's guy, I know all about great regular seasons. And then, what do you do in the playoffs? Didn't see it coming. Credit to their front office. They built on the deadline. Getting Chris Bryant's a big deal. Where it goes after that, I'm not sure. You can guarantee that the A's will get a new stadium and win a World Series in the next 100 years. I would hope so, but can I have it on the front half of those 100 years? Because even then, I would be 90 at 50 years from now. Yikes. Think about that for a second. I think I'm having a midlife crisis live here on YouTube. No, seriously, like, I'm 40 right now, and some people live to just 80. I gotta get to it here pretty quick. Yeah, I should probably also get some water too. Just trying not to like overdo the vocals here. I agree with you, Bamboo Soldier. Oh, your family got out. That is excellent to hear. You know, and I think some in Truckee coming to stay with you in Berkeley. See, and you know, there's only one B-town, right? I know that's not Burlingame. I just pulled any other B off my head. I know, and we talked before too. But you know what? I had a good feeling like everybody would get out of South Lake Tahoe, but you just think about what they're leaving behind, what may not exist after this. Man, it just, you know what? On that note, give me 1 second here. I'm just gonna clear that comment for 1 second. I'm gonna switch some things up here. Give me one beat to do this. I want to show you guys live some different things that I was looking at in the last couple days. I'll pull up the old Caltrans map too, but let me actually begin. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I can throw this up there now. Okay. This is from Alert Wildfire. These are different looks. And it's nighttime right now, clearly, so you can't. Oh, man, this one right here this is the Sierra at Tahoe camera. Now, this is updating, like down here at the bottom, you can see it's 11:03:49 was the last update. And the current time is 11:04:05. So there you go. Now there's another, every 10 seconds it looks like this updates. And this is about 10 seconds behind. So, not perfect. I'm pretty sure that the U.S. Forest Service is getting a live feed of this in real time. They can see in more detail, but we're seeing updates here every 10 seconds on the picture. That does not look good. Here's another one from Leak Springs, and I apologize, I don't know exactly where that's at or what it's pointing to. There's a map that you can look at on here. This is all part of, again, alertwildfire.org. That's the name of this website. But I also want to pull up this here. These are traffic cameras from Caltrans. And I think here, let me see if I can, I'll just do it like this. So this is actually, yeah, you're looking at a live feed. Now, I realize this also looks like just still images, but this is actually moving video right here. And the good news is no wind right now. Those are flags. I was looking at this earlier in daytime hours. Those flags were moving pretty good. So the wind has died down tonight, at least down here at lake level. This is 50. I think this used to be that like Embassy Suites here, and California is behind us, or I guess this is California, and then Nevada's ahead of us down that way. State line's down here, and the casinos are down here. I think there's a taco. I think, is that a Taco Bell or a McDonald's right there too? It's sad that I know that. But at least, and nobody's here. This area has all been evacuated. Let me see if I can show you a couple other video images here. Here's one at the Y. So this is the intersection of 50 and 89 right here. That's kind of a weird aspect ratio. Now you can see that this is live video because that looks like stuff falling. Now I don't like that either. Falling embers and stuff. I mean, this is not very far away from, and you're only talking X amount of miles from the fire and the edge of it, the northeastern edge of it, coming in this direction. There you go. Headlights. Somebody was making a right turn back over there. So literally nothing going on here. And I do realize it's, 11 o'clock on a Monday night, but glad to see that everybody has gotten the heck out of there. There's one other thing I want to show you here. So these are infrared cameras. Oh, now here's the Heavenly thermal camera. My goodness. Is that all on fire? Wow. So this gives you an idea of what that's pointing towards. So this is on top of Heavenly. And I would imagine that you're seeing, yeah, this ridge right here is what you're seeing. That's probably it's got to be what the camera's seeing right here, that ridge. So this, oh, and you can see the camera's moving here too. It's panning to the right. But this appears to be where the fire is, like right now. My goodness. And you can see how, if that is indeed what we're looking at here, it is not far from like Pioneer Trail, the airport. Man, I've got a lot of history right there at the airport at South Lake Tahoe. It's kind of the last thing I'm worried about right now. That's just pavement and some other things that can be replaced. But look at all this 50, and you get in here to state line, and yeah, this is getting, if that is what I'm seeing. So this infrared camera right here, let me see if I can take a little closer look at it. I mean, it does appear that is the area that's burning, unless I'm totally crazy. Wow. Well, let's go back to the, so if I paste that in there, should be able to hit that up here. I thought there was a, I thought there was a heavenly, oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, but see, this camera is just not offering us, so this is just a straight up video camera, and it's just not offering us any real kind of detailed information here. Let's see if we can go down to, there's another heavenly one. Yeah, see, that one's kind of dark. It's pointed in that direction. It just cannot see very much, unfortunately. What if I do, I wonder if the time lapse yesterday was not working. It may quit out again here. Man, kind of gives you an idea of what it was like all day. Now, this is at 6:20 p.m., 6:30 p.m. The sun's going down. Oh, man. You can't even see more than a mile right there. 7:30. Now it's 8 p.m. Now it's dark. Oh, man. Let's see if there's another time lapse that offers us just a little bit more. The other thing is you can now play this through in a lot. Now that it's loaded, you can kind of see how it's just getting closer. Because look at the smoke. And the camera didn't move right there, but still, that is pretty intense. Let's go to the, yeah, this is another view that I'm interested in here. This mobile view. Now this one, it's like right next to Fallen Leaf Lake, and it's looking south. So I think this is kind of also an area of interest of where the fire is approaching from clearly. Let's do the last 6 hours here on the time lapse. Can I zoom in on this guy? Not really. It's smaller for some reason. You just see a ton of smoke. And it was pretty clear to me that there were flames. Nope, those are just... It's just lights. Oh, no, off in the distance. Now the camera moves. I see. I see what it sees. It's right up there. Camera zooms in on that area, and I think that's where flames are coming over the hill. Is that right? I mean, there's a lot of activity now. I think you're seeing people staged down here as well, too. Man. Well, I guess I can go back to the live chat here in a second, but just wanted to show you guys all that's going on right now. These are great resources. The Caltrans CCTV map. And by the way, look how many, if you ever need to look at this stuff, a lot of these cameras are down too. Like, yeah, see temporarily unavailable. I'd really like to see what that's showing me right now. But look how many cameras there are just across the Bay Area. I mean, it's kind of a cool one here. This one's on top of the bridge, the Bay Bridge, looking at Treasure Island. Not the greatest quality at night, but look, there's me driving home right there. Yay! Long and productive day at work. Yeah, what time is it? Yeah, I would be coming home at 11, 12 p.m. That's about right. All right, so I will, been on that for a while. I will ditch that. No, that's not going to work. Brazil, hang on a second. There we go. Bring us back to the old live chat. Okay. You're welcome, Bamboo. I just, just had to go there. And I realize I've kind of let up on the chat here. Oh, Joshua, you got back to me. All right, here's the ideas. Grant Cohn uses a Cohn phone. Fans video in, ask questions, have takes. He does talk shows with multiple people. His dad, his other YouTube. Oh, helps upcoming. Yeah, okay. All right. I see where those are good ideas. You know what? I did not know that. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that. Now I don't want to be stealing anybody's thing or ideas completely, but those are good ones. We can take some calls too. I think I have some voicemails to go through. I didn't pre-screen them though, so I'm not sure I'll get to them here, but some other time, maybe that's what I should do, is always leave the phone lines open. And then you can just call in and leave a message if there's something good to say. You like to see more fair and honest takes on the A's and Sharks without sounding like the team's mouthpiece. You know, AC, and I don't know if you're saying that as, criticism or just, I think that's just a comment, or, you know, that's okay either way. I think sometimes people have the impression that I'm told to say stuff, or it's never necessarily that. I think a lot of times people confuse optimism with programmed messaging. Yeah. So, you know, and I think when you talk about honest takes, you know, for me, it's assessing usually a situation. Like, are the A's going to make the playoffs? I mean, they have dug themselves a hole here in the last 2 weeks in a bad timing way that's going to be hard to get out of. I can't assure you yes. I want to say yes. It's capable that they'll make it. But at this point, like, they need some other things to happen. They need Boston to cool off. They need the Yankees maybe to cool off. They need the Astros to tank. They need, you know, Seattle to get off their heels. So, look, and, you know, again, I've talked very bluntly about some of the Sharks seasons and not making the playoffs for 2 straight years. And I think what happens is that people want me to go off. I think that's what it is sometimes, because they'll go off. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I see a deeper level of things. I'm more exposed to it, that I'm not inclined to just come on here and rip somebody, or, you know, I've always said about, like, hot takes, if you're going to say it on TV, if you're going to say it on a YouTube video, on an article, on a website, if you're going to say it in a tweet, you also had better be able to say it to somebody's face. You better show up to the ballpark, walk right in the dugout, and you could say the same thing. Hey, player X, you have a terrible swing. Because, like, some people say that. Some people in the media will literally say that about a professional athlete on the radio, on whatever, on a live stream. But then when it comes time to, you know, first off, they just won't show up to the ballpark ever. But when they do, it's always like, so I'm just saying, whatever you do, whatever you say, you just want to stand by it. You want to live with it and back it up. And it lives forever. I feel like, and I guess on, you know, older mediums it doesn't, but this YouTube video will be probably available in 25 years. So there you go. What else do we have here? Have you heard of a new development spot at Warm Springs Road in Las Vegas Boulevard? Yeah, I've been keeping tabs on what Las Vegas is, you know, potentially going to have available. I mean, you know, how far along is that? Do they know how the city or the county down there is going to even be involved? They're kind of like they're kind of going car shopping right now. They haven't gone inside and done the negotiating yet. But I mean, it's like the fact that they're visiting tells you something, but I don't, it's hard to really buy into specifics down there yet. Yet is the key. I mean, at this pace, like, progress will be made. Let's see here. Jose, does Marlowe re-sign? Or Jose, are you saying does Marlowe resign? Now, come on. I know what you're saying. Does he re-sign? I have to have some fun with that. It's just been a long live stream. Google the area on Street View. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm reading that and I should have. Yeah, I'll look at that in a sec. Does Marlowe re-sign with the Sharks? I mean, I'm totally up for it. I know what he brings to the team. Good example, good leadership. I also think if you're Patrick Marlowe, it's not the worst thing in the world to miss the beginning of this season, to miss some of this season. You're already going to have an Olympic season where you start up, you shut down for 3 weeks, and then you start back up again. It's not the worst thing in the world if he plays half the season with somebody, with the Sharks, whoever, and only plays the second half. I actually kind of subscribe to that for older athletes. I really do. And you only have a year or two or whatever left. Make the most of it. And if a team will bring you on halfway through a year, then you deserve it. And a competitive team, then you deserve the opportunity. That speaks volumes about you that they would want to bring you on at that juncture. So I would not be surprised if if something doesn't happen here, but then it does happen later. He's going to stay in good shape. He's going to be skating. Okay, we're going to go back to I'll look at the street view of that ballpark a little bit later. I know where it's at, like south of the airport. Adam, man. I know he hurt his finger. I'm not laughing about that, but that's all I know, actually. What a weird situation. Like, the 49ers thought they had their quarterback, thought this was the next thing, went to a Super Bowl at the beginning of 2020 before the world went to hell. And now here we are in 2021, and they drafted somebody else, and he's not instantly the guy, but maybe No, and I haven't even watched a single snap of preseason football. I have not. So, sorry, I'm going to give you a crap answer on it if I tried to. But let me take a step back and just say this. It's a lot of pressure on anybody to jump in the fold of being an NFL quarterback, especially when you're not coming off a college career at like a, SEC school. Or I'm not saying he's not capable of it. I'm just saying that you'd be foolish to rush this. You'd be foolish to push somebody into something that may impact them later on in their career. You need development. I've seen too many baseball players. Especially too many hockey players. And not even just on the Sharks, across the league. They're called up too early. Like, they have a really good, scouting report, and it's all good, and everybody's high and optimistic, and then you bring them up too early. They have a little bit of success, but mostly struggle, and then all of a sudden it's in their head. They go back down. That's a thing. That's a process. Then you come back up, and in football, it's not that. It's either you're starting or you're not. But I would just take my time with it. A's, Raiders, Dubs, Sharks. What's going on? Do the A's call up KD? You know what, Chip? I did this. I did a whole rant on that earlier. And just to summarize what I said, I don't know. September 1st, rosters expand only by 2 players. That kind of complicates the issue. If you told me it was 5 players, I think he's in. Because what's the risk? But it's just the fact that it's just 2, and you might need 2 bullpen arms. I think I wouldn't be surprised. I know I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I'm not sure if it's going to happen yet. I know he's, you want to strike while the iron's hot, and he's hot right now. Maybe it's a September 5th thing. Those roster spaces will still exist. Do I think people overreacted about the Alameda County vote being pushed back? I said this before too. If you're Alameda County, why not give it the extra beat? Why not wait until the A's and the city of Oakland have shook hands, and then you could just say, we're right into. That's all we needed, because guess what? We're into. I'm not for sure that that's the case. I have a pretty strong idea that it's possible that way. But what would they be saying yes to? They're voting on something that's not complete between 2 other parties? So I kind of get it. I actually kind of get it. Now, if it comes with a negative sentiment that I'm not aware of, like this has never been a good idea, if you're telling me it's not ready, yeah, I agree. It's not ready for you. So I'm not terribly surprised, but I'm also not like demoralized by it. Yeah, that will help the wild card situation. The Yankees and Red Sox will have head-to-head games against the Rays. And who would have thought, like, over all the years, that you'd be saying, oh, yeah, you know what, Tampa's going to hand the Yankees and the Red Sox some L's. It's a beautiful thing. I love it, trust me. And I like it more against the Yankees than the Red Sox. I don't really hate the Red Sox. I don't really hate the Yankees either. I don't hate anybody. But I understand the distaste. I get it. I definitely get it, especially out here in California. Nobody ever talks about Mike Fiers anymore. Do I think we'll see him before a potential postseason? I don't know what's honestly going on there. And I'm not saying that like with some suspicious nature because he's always around the team. He's in the dugout. I just don't know what the process is like, what the injury is like to the detail, if there's surgery lined up or involved, or I do not know. I really don't know. So I think it's probably unlikely, Eric, but I can't even speak to that because there's not too many details even available. I like Mike, though. I do have to say, I thought he has been a big part of, the success that this wave of the A's have had through 17 to really starting in 18, when they got him late 18 into 19 into last year. I think two big things that nobody talks about Mike Fiers, two things that nobody talks about, Mike Fiers and Trevor Rosenthal. Fiers did have two starts way back in May? Excuse me, April or May? But yeah, largely forgotten. And that's unfortunate because imagine this team with those two additional resources. They'd be that much better. There's no question about it. Joshua, is Chafin our closer for the rest of the year? Well, you've seen him in that role a couple times. You've seen Sergio Romo close out a game. Romo's done that once or twice before in his career. I think he's won a World Series or two or three that way. I'm curious to see how this shakes out for the A's down the stretch. Closer by committee. Seems possible. It could also be that Lou Trevino gets a couple good outings under his belt, shows some confidence, shows everything that you need to see, and we're right back to sweet Lou. Like, Lou carried this team as the closer for so long. But let's rewind it back to spring training in the beginning of this season. First week, A's go, 1-7 to start off the year. Oh, and then they lose Rosenthal for the long term. Not good. So when you are going to win games, who's going to close them out? Well, Bob Melvin says Jake Diekman and Lou are the two-headed monster. And they both get a little bit of a look here and there, but Lou becomes the guy. Lou emerges into that. And good for him. Had a great 2018, like a stellar 2018. Struggled a little bit, mightily actually in 19, but rebounded quite nicely in 20 and the short season. And here he is in 2021. Now he's a closer. And he had done so well through June and July into just this last little bit. Those three blown saves within a week really changed the course of things. I know he's capable. I know he can do this, but I also understand that, the wheels of the team don't stop moving and you want to try something else and you want to figure something else out. So I don't know that it's Chafin specifically, but I do think that there's going to be a little bit of a rotation until it can be settled down and sorted out. And I think Chafin's in that mix. I think Romo's in that mix. I think Diekman is less in that mix only because you've established him as an eighth inning guy. And that way maybe you could go lefty-righty from 8th to 9th if you had to or need to. If your closer is a righty, not like Chafin. But my point is, I think it's going to be committee. I think you are going to get probably a Trevino, a Chafin, and a Romo as the committee options. And we'll see what they settle in on. But I'll tell you this. It's nice to have some more options. All right. Do you think breaking ground on Howard Terminal would have an immediate impact on the amount of media coverage the A's receive in the Bay Area? Derek, that is, wow. That's deep. You've been thinking about that one for a while, haven't you? But you know what? What's crazy? I've been thinking about that same thing too. And I don't know if I'm going to justify like impact with media attention. I don't know if that's it, but how about just overall attention? I think, and I don't even know if it's attention. I think it's mindset. I think the moment you break ground at Howard Terminal, it's instant mindset change. Because now it's real. And it's no longer talk. Then it's action. And the dominoes fall. And people get excited about the countdown of the Coliseum being done. And you start seeing that the commitment is real to Oakland. They're going to stay. They're going to stay for if it's another 50 plus years, that's the rest of my life. I don't need to worry about that for me ever, only for my kid. I do think it would have an immediate impact, and maybe they get treated differently in the media. Maybe all of a sudden, instead of 49ers third string, 49ers eighth string, Giants, Warriors, Oakland A's, that maybe they would get a little bit more play. But I forget, take media attention out of that. To me, what's more important is mindset of the public about the team. And that, I guarantee you, that day where shovels go into the ground, I guarantee you there's going to be a mindset change. All right. Should I do it? Should I do it for let's do it. Let's do it for 3 phone calls here. So I'm going to close that, open this. Let me make sure everything's set up here. I'm not sure that it was. Let's do literally 2 to 3 phone calls. It's 11:30 already. I don't want this thing to go too long. Or you know what? I'll give it 2 minutes here, and if nobody calls, then that's it. We're done. Or I could call somebody. But in all fairness, I just threw this up, and the stream's on a delay, so somebody's about to call. Fairly positive of that. Boy, there's a lot of voicemails here that I have to go through. I like the auto transcript on here. I know you can't see it on the screen, but it says, "Hey, Bradley. Hey, Billy. Hey, Brody." They're all spelled wrong. Oh, here we go. We have a call from the 510 to kick us off. Good evening from the 510. Who's this?
Hey, it's A's Raiders Dub Sharks again.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I'm doing well. I was kind of bored since the A's aren't playing tonight, so I was keeping track of the other games that actually affected them, like the Red Sox and Yankees.
So I was told that I need to have other YouTubers contribute to my channel. So give me a score report. Give me the updates of what else is going on. I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah. So it was good for the A's today because the Red Sox lost and the Yankees lost to the Angels.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm not too sure on the Astros, but I checked earlier and it was close. But yeah, I think, to be honest with you, the division is kind of a long shot as much as I'd love for them to win it.
Yeah.
I think the Astros are such a good team. But wild card, it's getting close. It feels like 2018-19 all over again with the really close finishes at the end.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Dave Stewart? Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I do. World Series MVP in 1989.
I'm giving you a hard time. No, Stu and I were texting earlier, and we were talking about what makes it difficult on the A's and who they're chasing. Is the fact that you're literally chasing Ferraris, like in the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Astros, and they're all getting players via trades, the deadline that passed, or now they're getting players back in the case of Houston.
Yeah.
So it's a hard chase. It's not only like, these are marginal teams or these are new teams to the mix. These are like long-standing, really good teams that they're chasing. I'm sorry, but I was looking up the Houston score. Oh, Houston won, unfortunately, 4-3 in Seattle.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like to add on to your point, it's almost like boys against men. Like as much as I love the A's players, Olsen, they're great, right? We're pieces away from a great team, and I hate to admit it, but I feel like the A's aren't quite there until they spend some more money. And I mean, we all know why they're not doing that. It's the ownership's problem. But I feel like I heard you talking earlier about Howard Terminal, and I feel like I'm praying that when Howard Terminal is secure, they can be more comfortable, because I feel like that'll bring in so much revenue that they'll be more comfortable with profits and hopefully invest more in the team to be a team like the Yankees. But who knows if they'll ever get that $300 million payroll? You know, I don't know if that will ever happen.
I think that's the bigger picture, like goal and plan in mind.
Yeah.
Your channel is A's. Was it A's, Raiders, Dubs,
yeah,
Sharks?
Dubs, Sharks.
Okay, so not Giants, right?
No.
So you'll be happy to know that the Giants lost 3-1 today to the Brewers.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Do you wait? Let me ask something. How do you describe your connection to the Giants? How do you describe it? You blank the Giant. You blank the Giants. What is that blank?
Envy.
Oh,
for sure.
Okay, so that's respectful then. Okay, yeah, that's good.
It's yeah. I mean, being a teenager, I grew up seeing all the Giants World Series and everyone rubbing it in my face, which made me. I think resentment would be another good word. Resent, which kind of means I respect them, but also means I kind of am jealous of them. Same with the Niners, because I'm a Raiders fan.
Oh, yeah.
I actually went to the game yesterday.
Did you?
The preseason one. Yeah, and it wasn't very fun because the Raiders got destroyed by the Niners. But, I mean, yeah, I kind of resent both of them, the Niners and Giants, because I feel like they've had so much success and they don't really know what it feels like, unless you're like an older fan that experienced the dark days of the teams.
Right.
But people my age have only seen World Series from the Giants and 2 Super Bowl appearances for the Niners, right? So
that's true.
For me, it's been like I've never seen a Raiders playoff win, and I've seen one A's series win, like in the playoffs, which was 2020.
You were what year were you born in then? In the
2005.
Okay,
I
wow.
wasn't too young to see 2006, which was the last time before when they beat the Twins.
Oh, I was going back to the Raiders. I actually went to the Super Bowl they played in San Diego. So I think that was 2002.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not a good game. That was a rough one.
Yeah.
Think about that.
The team that won it this year.
That was years before you were even alive. Wow.
I know. It's abuse. Like, I can't see. The only team I've seen that has legit success is the Warriors. The Sharks, you know, they had that cup final. They had the cup final appearance, but like, you know, they have gotten so close. They're very close every time, like when they make it. It's the conference finals. And the Warriors, like, that was great. But, I mean, Giants fans enjoyed that too, so I couldn't have anything to myself, I felt like.
You know, when I was 8, 9, and 10, or 7, 8, 9, 8, whatever, right around that age, that's when the A's 88, 89, 90. So I got a taste of a championship before I really, like, I knew what it was and I got it and I was pumped up about it, but it was also something that I wish I got to experience when I was like a little bit older too, you know?
Yeah.
And since then, none of my, and really, when I say none of my teams, the Warriors are also my team. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
If I could translate something to you being a little bit younger right now, it'd be this. Like, the Warriors always have had a great fan base. Like, even when it was the early days of the arena being redone, even when before it got redone, like, crowds were still pretty good when the team stunk, or when they came back, and it was like the Eric Dampier days and the Bobby Sura days. Like, there were still good crowds. Now, granted, they would usually come to see the teams they were playing, the other teams they were playing, but you knew that as soon as the Warriors were good, that tons of fans would come, and they did. The problem is too many came. They start, and you know what? No offense to your channel, but I say that anybody who's 40 years old and calls them the Dubs didn't like them when they were growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a new thing. That's a new thing. So anyway, that's why I feel disconnected, because I feel like I was at the party, and then like the party moved to somebody else's house, and I didn't either I didn't go or I didn't get invited. You know? Yeah.
Well, I mean, kind of a thing with the Warriors is I absolutely love the fact that they still embrace Oakland. And I know it's controversial because people say, oh, it's like, why did they start embracing them and they leave? But I feel like for me, being a huge merchandise collector, it's like connected. I feel like I can actually be more unified with them as they wear Oakland on their chests every couple of games. But yeah, I understand what you mean though. The dubs, that's kind of like a newer thing, and
Yeah.
Well,
but you're
right
you're
when I
newer.
got into them.
You're newer. You have.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. What I'm saying by that is, and that's my cutoff is like 35 to 40. But for you,
Yeah.
that's all you've ever known. That's perfect, and I'm glad you got to see them. I'm glad you've gotten
Yeah,
a taste of a championship era and team. What were you?
Yeah.
You were just saying something there that I was gonna ask you about.
Yeah.
And forgot, but that's okay. You know what? I'm gonna try and hustle through a couple other calls.
Sure.
But this is awesome, and keep up the good work
Yeah,
on your
thank you.
channel. And you know what? Somebody suggested earlier that I got to collaborate with more YouTubers, and
Oh yeah.
you seem like a good fit. So I'll keep it in mind.
For sure. Yeah. Don't be afraid to reach out. I'd be open to that.
All right.
Sounds good, Brody.
It'd be nice to build a little team out here. You know, little squad goals.
For sure.
I'm trying to sound young, and that didn't work. But anyway.
You should start saying dub. And
Dub.
maybe you'll sound younger.
You got it. All right. Well, what do you ever say your real name or no?
Yeah, my name's Casey. I think
Casey.
I might have told you last time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's right.
K-A-S-E-Y.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Casey, you have a good night,
Yeah.
man, and I appreciate your call again. Thanks, man.
All right, you too, Brody. Thank you.
All right. All right, there goes Casey. A's, Raiders, Dubs, Sharks. I looked at his channel after last time we talked, and there was a lot of hustle on there. All right, we're live from the 360. Who's this?
This is Joshua.
Joshua, what's going on? Did we talk last time?
No, well, I've been giving you some ideas on the live chat there.
I love it because you know what? I took last time I took a few calls from the 360 also, and I don't. Where is that?
This is like the Portland area, but I'm across the river in Washington, so I'm in like Vancouver, Washington, technically.
Oh, nice. Is it what's weather like up there right now? Smoky still? You guys dealing with anything, or how is it?
No, it's beautiful. The
good.
smoke is kind of going a different way, so
that's good. That's good.
You know who you should do a podcast with is Dave Stewart. That's who you should do a weekly podcast with him. That would crush it. You would get all kinds. Your followers would probably at least double, I think.
You're recommending more stew? What's wrong with? I'm gonna hang up on you.
Oh, absolutely.
That is just a. you know I'm messing around.
The fans want it.
Okay.
The fans want it.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. So since you're producing it for me, what like do we stick to just A's? Do we talk about all baseball topics? Do we do a little bit of both? Do we actually go beyond baseball? Like how do you see it? Like what would be what you'd want?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the majority of the content should be Oakland A's content. But then, talking about, I don't know, if someone threw a no-hitter, talk about that. You talk about all kinds of things that's happening in baseball. And you get just different pitching takes from one of the greatest to ever do it. That'd be amazing.
All right. I like it. And I think too, another aspect of media creation in this, day and age, everybody talks about a podcast, and I do love a podcast, but I always feel like what you should really do is make a video and then use the audio for the podcast and then also have the video here on YouTube. I don't know. Does that make sense to you, or do you think is that too much?
No, see, I keep going back to Grant Cohn because here's the thing: if you made as much content as Grant Cohn, I would watch you way more. I
got to check
him, but I am a 49ers fan, so
I'm. You know what? I'm honest. I know that's Lowell's son, right? And I honestly I don't know that Lowell and I know he's kind of out of the game a little bit, formally, but I don't know that I've really crossed paths with his son very much. And I didn't even know he had he's got a full-blown channel, and he pumps out sounds like he pumps out a ton of stuff.
Oh yeah, ton of content.
Okay.
It's every I think Mondays. So today he does this. He does a Mondays with Vish, some kid who's out in the Chicago area, but he's really intelligent and has great takes on football and the whole deal there. Another YouTuber guy. So and then he helps other people get their start too. So all these guys, they've created their own YouTube channels. They even kids. So he has kids literally 9 and 10-year-olds doing podcasts talking about the Niners.
Really?
And then they'll have him as a guest, and it's really cool. But yeah, he works with what Sports Illustrated helps other journalists
All right.
start, and
it's
a really cool thing.
I'm gonna check it out. And you know what's crazy is all of this stuff is new, a new platform. I mean, it's not new, like YouTube's not new, but the way people are using it as like a new form of, especially sports media. To your point, like
Right.
who was doing? I was not live streaming like this from my house even 2 years ago. You know, so.
Your video quality is better than his. You got to do different cameras and everything, and so I think you got the video side of it down. But he does like what you do. You take a podcast, and then your section where you talked about KD, you clip that into a clip, and then post that. That's exactly what he does.
You could see what I was doing there, huh? Sometimes I'm literally like, okay, is it still recording there? Okay, give it a beat? Okay, now start talking so I can make that edit later on. That's great. You know what? I think that's all great stuff, and I'm definitely gonna check that out. And I think too, what would be important for me is to connect with people who would be good for the channel too, right? Like, because I don't want to just put anybody on, and it's not like a knock to them, but I want to make sure it's worth the audience's time, right? Like, you want to put out people out there that you know are going to succeed. So.
Absolutely. I have one question.
Fire away.
Thank you so much for the time, by the way.
Yeah.
I just appreciate I appreciate your positivity and your optimism, and that's refreshing nowadays, because you hear so much negativity. But you hear, speaking of negativity, you hear a lot about Darren Bush and just different, I don't know, everyone's calling for this guy's head, and I just want to hear your take on him.
Yeah, so it's like a catch-22, because whether it's Darren Bush or Joe Schmo, who's a hitting coach for any other major league team, and I'm like not diminishing the role of a hitting coach on any team, but they can only do so much. And they're also not the ones that would even give a hitter a signal to bunt, or to I mean, the hitting coach literally helps a player with their swing, helps them prepare for what they're about to see, but they can't actually get in there and do the execution of the job. So I've always looked at, and I look at hockey. I know, I cover that too, but they'll look at fans will look at a coaching staff and say, well, the players just did not perform tonight. Well, do you think that had anything to do with the 6 hours of video review they did, the preparation they gave to the players, even the pep talk that always comes in that dressing room before the game? And it's the same thing for baseball. If you're telling me the preparation is wrong, then yeah, changes have to be made. But if the preparation is always there and the execution is not, like, at some point, is it one of those jobs too where it's like you're a statue of something? So fire the hitting coach, and that sends a message to the players: you guys better get your offense together. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you a symbol, or are you a human that's helping? So I know you're asking specifically about Darren Bush. I've been thinking about that. I'm glad you brought it up. I've been thinking about it, because my true feeling is that a hitting coach has responsibilities that are literally after the game, before the next game, and that's about it. Like, during the actual game, like, tell me how the hitting coach, what does he help a guy hit opposite field better? Is that? But that's not a during. If he's not going to help you during the game, do that, because anybody can tell you to do that. But if you can't do it, you can't do it. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
Right. No, it's great, because it's just kind of funny. People they'll like blame Matt Chapman's performance on Darren Bush, but then they won't give Darren Bush the credit for like Olsen's amazing season. You know what I mean? It's just kind
absolutely.
Of funny.
Or like with the okay, so like you mentioned Olsen, he's hit homers again this year. His average is up like 80 points. He's cut strikeouts in half. So to your point, like and Chapman struggles, I think he's not admitting it, and because he's not an excuse guy. He's a goal-oriented, I'm going to get it done guy. But you'd have to think that some of what he struggled with this year was the hip and the timing of it and getting right. And it's one thing to be able to play, but it's another thing to be able to play like you're supposed to. And what does he hit, like 7 homers this month now? He's like finally starting to get the power back. The average in August is up. He struck out so many strikeouts this year.
He's leading the league.
Yeah, I know, and like I feel for him because I know, like, and that's another thing. A lot of times I know fans look at players and they don't, if a guy doesn't throw his bat, slam his helmet down, then he's not pissed after an at-bat like that where he struck out. Matt Chapman, like, you could see the steam coming out of his ears and eyes as he goes back to the dugout,
Sure.
It's not for a lack of effort or concentration or just it's got to be something else going on there with him. So anyway.
Gotcha.
Hopefully that
Thank you so much.
Yeah, hopefully all that stuff makes sense. Like, I don't know. I don't like people to think that, he never blames anybody, but at the same respect, that's like blaming the waiter for how the food was cooked. Like, that's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, there might be somebody to blame, but it might be quite obvious. Like, it's the hitter. It's not the hitting coach necessarily in these circumstances. So anyway.
Gotcha. Hey, I just want to say thank you again,
Yeah.
man. You're awesome. You produce amazing content. And
Thank you.
I love more of it. So appreciate
Awesome.
it, brother.
Well, no, I
Have a good one.
appreciate all the ideas, and I'm gonna check out more of that. And if I do branch out that way, remember these chats right here because I'm listening to them. That's good stuff. Have a good night and be safe up there.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Let us do one more. We got time for one more. One more. Last caller. Yeah. And then that's it. Man, I am so thirsty right now. I've been streaming for an hour and a half, needing a glass of water this entire time. My mouth got dry and then it came back again. Well, maybe nobody else is calling in. It is pretty late. Right around the corner from midnight. Any other good comments here? Did somebody Baba booed me? Sounds like a Ring Central ringtone. No, it's Google Voice. Ooh, moment of solidarity for the triple OG Ray Fosse. Yeah, it's I'm not getting used to not hearing him, every day, every other day. Whoops. That has not gone away. Let me take this off and put on what I'm supposed to here. All right. Well, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I thought somebody else would call in, but or did I close the window? Yikes. I can't get back to this here. Let me close all that. Yeah. Well, maybe we took our last call, and that's fine too. So I'm going to close that off, and I will zip through a couple more of these comments here. Townie would be great. Yep. We just we got to see each other this weekend. I haven't seen him in a while. Been hearing him. Post-game shows in YouTube are what's up. Check them. Oh, check out Hum Baby Baseball. Sounds like a Giants product to me, but I'll check it out. Oh, he does both Giants and baseball. All right. Let's see what else here. Live stream during the games if possible. You know what, AC? I've just started to do that. I may do that this upcoming week with a couple 4 o'clock start times, California time. Should have on Mark Canna to talk about food. Oh, that's definitely, I would hit up Canna. No problem. But that seems more like an off-season thing. I don't want to bug him during, especially at this point of the year. But I'll tell you what, during the off-season, I'll call up Mark. He might be a free agent in baseball, but not for Brazil's YouTube. Get Chafin on here to talk about beer. There is a Chafin interview video here on my channel. Go check it out. We talked, you know what? He did not get a houseboat. He's actually living at Chris Bassett's house. I agree. Canna's the man. Canna can do no wrong. All right. You know what? On that note, that's it for the live stream. Thank you guys so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. I meant to do more of this. If you're on here, I assume you're already subscribing because that's why you're here. But if you're not subscribing, now's the perfect chance to do it. Like this video at the end, thumbs up on it. That'll help other people see it, see this channel. And that's all I'm trying to do is grow this thing out a little bit bigger, a little bit better. So until tomorrow, we'll have pregame live at 3:30. A's visiting the Tigers. I will see you then. Have a good night.